You deserve a man who loves you, respects you, and is attentive to your needs. Don't feel like you have to settle for anything less. And I'm not just saying that, I mean that. Because I see so many women settle for less. So many women accepting a man who is unwilling to invest in them, pour into them, make sure that you're good, all right? And unfortunately, the reason why this happens, well, there's a lot of different reasons why. But I see women, when they're in these situations, not handle it in the best way possible. And in ways that can now create more problems for that woman. All right. So I want you to understand what mistakes you need to avoid when a man's not investing in you. Now, let me make something clear. When I say invest, don't just think money. All right. Though I'm a believer in a man providing for a woman. All right. And I think it's important and more men should strive for it. There is much more to providing than financial. All right. So investing is really investing in the relationship, investing in your well-being, investing in just making sure that you both can be happy and grow a great relationship. So the first mistake that I want you to avoid making is doing more for him, thinking that will get more out of him. So this happens with a lot of women. Maybe it happened to you, maybe not. But you're dealing with this man. He's not doing what you like or enough of what you would like. And the initial thought is, let me pour more into this guy. And I think for a lot of women, I know for a lot of women, there's a natural desire to want to nurture. There's a natural desire to want to uplift and just give your love, right? But I think it's important, real quick, for me to say, in that moment, you're not really operating out of love, you're operating out of fear. You are trying to do more because you're afraid that you will continue to get less, or you're afraid that this man does not want you anymore. You're afraid that the relationship may end. So now, rather than hold him accountable, you think, let me just step up my game. Let me just try harder. Now, there are some circumstances where maybe you weren't doing what you needed to do. Don't take offense, anybody. Just hear me out. And I'll explain more at the end and break that whole thing down. But let's just assume that you have been putting your best foot forward, all right? Doing more is not going to make him do anything. It's almost like there's this quote, and I wish I remembered it exactly, but it essentially was saying you can't expect to gain a man's affection by giving him more of something that he didn't appreciate in the first place. It's like if he's not responding well to you doing your best right now, well, he's not going to respond to you trying to do better. All right. And so this goes to my other quote I use a lot, where you'll never be good enough for the wrong person. There's a line that you have to draw, and you have to understand, listen, I did my part, or I've been doing my part, and this person's not satisfied. It's just a matter of we're not right for each other. We're not a good fit. It's not about this person's a bad person or you're this. No, it's just y'all are not a good fit. So don't start to overextend yourself trying to compensate for something which in reality you're trying to, you lack a level of confidence to know, no, my best should be good enough. Again, if they're the right person. And so the bottom line here is too many women fall into this trap, and it does not change anything. It doesn't. You should not have to do more. So catch yourself, all right? And be honest about what's going on here. And do not allow fear to be your motivating factor or desperation, because in many cases, that's what's happening. Or, hitting my spirit, pressure. Now, when I mention the pressure, I'm not even talking about pressure from the man. I'm talking about pressure from outside influences, family, friends, people who may be invested in you having this relationship for whatever reason. And sometimes, yes, even though they have good intentions, they may be telling you, yeah, just do this, or you just need to do that. No. Have you been doing your best? And if you have, and it's not working, you got to walk away. Now, the second mistake, and I kind of slightly alluded to it in the first point, but the second mistake when he's not investing in you to not make is starting to question your worth, all right? And think something's wrong with you. So again, as I left off in the last point about you recognizing when you're just not the right fit, the unfortunate reality is that so many women, when they have met a man that they want for whatever reasons, it doesn't mean he's a good man, doesn't mean he's a great person, whatever reason, she decided, I want this relationship. And now when that man is not honoring her in the way that she desires, she then starts to question, why am I not good enough? And that's such a huge mistake, because now what happens is, one, that can lead into making mistake number one on the list, where if you now think it's about, I'm not good enough, why doesn't he love me? Why doesn't he want me? Now you're going to try to compensate by doing more, when again, that won't change anything. So now you're going to sacrifice more of yourself. You're going to pour more out of yourself. You're going to drain yourself, damage yourself further, trying to make something work with someone that it cannot work with. All right. But even if you don't take that step, what happens is, if you now question your worth, you now take this negative perception and with you into your next possible relationship or into your dating environment. To now you will lack confidence because this man that you last dealt with did not give you what you need. Now, I've said it once and I'll say it again. You have to understand that some men are not wired to see your value. They're not built for that. That's not their purpose in your life. So they're not going to connect with it in a way that allows them to pour into you in the way that you deserve and desire. You cannot internalize, or you should not internalize when this happens. You have to just see it as, we are not good for each other. We are in the wrong relationship. Let me walk away with my head held high, understanding that someone else will receive this. Now, I'm going to use this quote, but don't take it literally. You know how they say one man's trash is another man's treasure. Now, I'm in no way calling you trash, so don't take it that way. But you understand what I'm saying? Just because one man does not see the value does not mean the next person will not. And we have to get out of the habit of then allowing someone's inability to see our value to cause us to change it. It's like, if you went to the car dealership and they're selling a Bentley, all right? There's going to be some people who see that Bentley and say, man, I wish I had the money to buy that Bentley. There's going to be other people that see that Bentley and be like, man, that Bentley ain't worth $100,000 or whatever the price is. I'm not paying for that. And there's going to be somebody else that comes in and says, I want the Bentley. Here's the money. Let's go. If the dealer deals with 10 other people who either can't afford it or don't think it's worth it, do they drop the price of the Bentley? Hell no. The Bentley's still worth $100,000, whatever kind of money. Someone's going to pay that price. They just have to be patient and wait to receive the right customer, the right buyer. It's the same thing you have to do. Your value does not change because other people don't see it. Your value does not change because other people can't afford it. They're not qualified for it. Or they're not ready to buy it. You know, you might need to check out my video, Right Man, Wrong Time. We won't get too deep into that right now. Felt the need to throw it out there. But anyways, the point is, you don't let other people dictate your value. So when men or a man is not investing in you, do not internalize it. All right? See it for what it is. Move forward in a positive, better direction. Okay, you know what? Before we move on to the next point, I feel the need to mention this. My videographer kind of brought it to my attention. So there's a quote I have that I'm never going to tell people to settle. I always say you don't have to settle, but you may have to raise your qualifications. And so here's the thing. I do think that we have to always be honest with ourselves about, are we showing up as our best selves? I do think that we can't simply look at everyone not embracing our value as they're always just missing it. And this is a very delicate balance that we have to strike. Because again, I do not want you to internalize, but I do want you to learn or see if there's a pattern. So essentially, if I'm a man and let's say, for example, I have horrible communication skills, all right? And I meet 5 women and every single time these women don't want to be with me or it doesn't go anywhere because of this issue. Now, if I simply say to myself, oh, they're not built to see my value, the problem is them, not me, then I will never learn to address the issue of my bad communication. I have to humble myself enough to say, okay, if all these people continue to have the same issue with me, this is an issue I may need to fix and address. And I have to be honest with myself and say, okay, is this something that helps or hurts a relationship? It's always about, okay, because every relationship needs good communication. Every relationship may not need you at a certain size. The reason why I'm using size is to say, if you meet 2 guys and they say, well, I expect you at this size, but there might be a 3rd guy that wants you at that size, it can vary for certain aspects of what we present to the world. But communication, healthy communication, is a constant need no matter who it is. We've got to be real with ourselves about what needs to be improved upon. So I don't want us to use what I just said in point number 2 as a scapegoat to never look ourselves in the mirror. I just don't want you to beat yourself up about it. All right. And forgive me, because I don't know if using size was the right example to use. All right. I'm trying to find something, but I hope you get what I'm saying. All right. Just forgive me on this one. You get it, hopefully. But the point is, we've got to not fall into the trap of not looking to improve ourselves. And that's why it goes back to what I said in the first point. Are you putting your best foot forward? If you are, then that's a whole different story. All right. If you're showing up as your best self, that's what I said, you'll never be good enough for the wrong person. So if you are being your best and it's still not working, okay, we move on. But sometimes we're overvaluing ourselves relationship-wise. Or we're not, I think a better way to say this is, we are not tapping into our true value. The value may be there, but are we tapping into it? So the analogy that's coming to my mind right now is, the house may be worth $500,000 when it's fixed up, but the bathroom needs to be fixed. The doors are cracked. I don't know. I'm thinking about just stuff that can happen. Whatever. There's damage in the house. There's things that need repairs. So in its current state, it's only worth $350. Now, I don't want you selling yourself for $350 if you're the house. I want you to fix up the stuff so you can get your full $500,000 value. All right. So you are that valuable, but you have to tap into it. Just had to give that reminder. All right, so hopefully you're still with me. All right, and let's move on to the third one. The third mistake to avoid doing when he's not investing in you is bad mouthing him to your friends and family. So I think some of you, when you hear, well, he's not investing in you, so just let him go. And we'll address that. But I think we have to be real and recognize the fact that even when these things happen, and it happens to plenty of women, people don't always walk away. People aren't always quick to let go. And they're still there. But while they're there, again, they're engaging in behaviors that's actually making things worse, not potentially better, or not giving a resolution to potentially walk away. So the whole bad mouthing him to your friends and family, here's the problem. One, this is how we now invite outside influences who can end up lingering in our relationship. Especially because now, in many cases, people go and vent to friends and family when it's bad, not when it's good. When it's good, you're with your boo, you're hanging out, ain't nobody hearing or seeing you. It's like you're just happy. But when you're frustrated, when you're unhappy, when something's missing, this is where we tend to be the loudest. And now you pour this lopsided perception into these other individuals to where they don't know the good that may have existed. In a scenario where good does exist, in a scenario where this might be a fixable situation, and we'll talk about that later. But the point is, now you've made things more difficult for your relationship, because now this outside noise isn't going to just affect you right now, but when anything happens down the road, it can bring people back in who's like, well, I remember when he did this, or, they now hold on to a negative perception of this man. And now they feed you nothing but negativity. Even when he does try to do right, they may feed you skepticism. Not only because of what you fed them and how you badmouthed them from that situation, but also because they may have things in their life they haven't resolved. They may be speaking out of a bias. They may be triggered by certain things. And now what happens is they're projecting their own emotions onto you, and that is negatively impacting your relationship. You're not going to make anything better by bad-mouthing him to your friends and family. You only create a scenario where things can get a lot worse. Now, it's one thing if you can say to me, you have a friend or a family member that has a balanced perception of the scenario. They've heard good, they've heard bad, they're a confidant, you can trust that they can give you unbiased opinion. You know what I'm saying? That's a lot more acceptable. So you want to be mindful of who you are talking to about your relationship. But I would encourage you to address things with your partner and with God. All right. And try to keep it there as much as possible. If we have to go outside the relationship, it'd be preferred that it's a professional. Simply because the professional knows how to be more unbiased. Though there are some professionals who struggle with that as well. For the most part, they can give a better perception, and also because they've seen more examples such as yours, they have a much more well-rounded understanding of these scenarios and how they can be better handled. All right. So you just have to be mindful of that, because it can get really messy really fast. All right. So now we are on to the next one, and it's number 4. And the 4th mistake to avoid doing when he's not investing in you is doing less for him, i.e. punishing him. All right. So again, as I mentioned, not everyone leaves when they're not getting what they need in a relationship. And what many people do, what is more common actually, is retaliation. All right. Retaliation of some sort, whether that be the cold shoulder, silent treatment, again, as I mentioned, punishing them, purposely doing less for them. And to many individuals, this may seem like a reasonable response. It's like, well, if he ain't going to do what he needs to do, well, then I'm not going to do these things for him. Well, once we decided that we are not going to show up the way that we need to in the relationship, it's pretty much time to go. All right. And I'm not saying that as in just automatically jump to that. I'm saying if you are not going to muster up the strength to either work through your issue and show up the way that you need to show up, all you're going to do is damage the relationship more. So let's just consider from both angles. One, he's just a man who's not serious. He has no intentions of investing in you. Well, all you're doing by quote unquote punishing him is creating more negativity in the relationship, which is only going to add to you being stressed, you being unhappy. What also can happen is when you're not getting the reaction out of him that you want, you become more frustrated, or you try to poke the bear even more. You will cross lines you shouldn't be crossing, all because he is not giving you the response you are looking for. And that can lead to a very unhealthy cycle. On the flip side, let's just say it's a scenario where it's a misunderstanding and communication will solve this. But you skipped that by going straight to punishing this man. Now he feels some kind of way. Now it becomes a domino effect of, okay, well, you punish him with this. Now he stops doing that. Now it just gets worse and worse and worse. one way or another, it typically leads to deterioration. Now, some of you may say, well, no, I once punished a man and he ended up doing what I need him to do. There's always exceptions to every rule. However, what you will find in most scenarios when there is a positive, and when I say positive, there is a reaction that is desirable, is that it's not sustainable. So yes, in that moment that you punished him or took something off the table, he reacts and now he does what he needs to do. And in the minute it gets back to normal, he goes right back to not doing stuff. And now it becomes this constant cycle of trying to push buttons to get him to do stuff, and the buttons don't always work. So again, you still end up leading to further deterioration of the relationship. It's simply not healthy, and you should not have to be in some constant mindset of playing games and being strategic to have to get him to do this and that. That's not good. So don't allow the desire for revenge, retaliation, all these things to consume you or get the best of you. What you always have to ask yourself in life in general is, are you more worried about your pride or progress? Let's say that one more time. Are you more worried about pride or progress? Pride, and really foolish pride says, yeah, I'm gonna make him pay. Foolish pride says, I want him to hurt the way I did. Foolish pride says, okay, he's not going to do this, I'm not going to do that. Tit for tat. But there is no progress in that. And all you do is create a deeper negative cycle. Progress requires a different approach. And should that not be the goal always? And if we cannot achieve progress, then that's a clearer sign we need to go in a new direction. All right, so we're about to get to number 5, but real quick, here is your opportunity to ask your own questions and get them answered for free on my next live coaching call. Go to askstephanspeaks.com, click the link in the description or in the comments section. You'll have a page where you can submit your question and the opportunity to get it answered for free, live on my next coaching call. Don't miss this opportunity. Again, go to askstephanspeaks.com. So, number 5, the 5th mistake to avoid when he's not investing in you is nagging him and giving him an attitude. So this kind of goes hand in hand with punishing him or taking things away from him. Punishing him, take things away from him. Essentially, again, what I've come across is a lot of women saying, I tried talking to him and it doesn't work, right? And a lot of times my response is, well, if you can't talk to this man, why are you trying to be with him? Because it's not going to work overall if you can't talk to him. But I digress from that. What I also dig into is the fact that, okay, you said you talked to him, but it's not that you talked to him, it's how did you talk to him? For a lot of people, they air their grievances in the heat of the moment. They air their grievances when they're already pissed off, frustrated, agitated, annoyed, when essentially negative energy is fueling their expression. And then people can't understand why they're not getting a positive reaction or a positive result. You cannot expect positive things, great blessings, if negativity is the driving force behind what you're doing. Now, granted, your main intention, your overall intention is to make things better. But what's driving you in that moment is something negative. And so no matter how calm you may sound, no matter if you're not cursing this man out, he's feeling your energy and your energy is attacking him. It's like, think about it as a woman. There's been plenty of times you've spoken to somebody, maybe another woman, and they're speaking to you calm and collected and they're being very proper, but you can still feel the stankness come off their body. Like you sense the attitude, the passive aggressiveness. And no matter how calm they are in that moment or how calm they're trying to act like, you still have a desire to reach over and slap them one good time. Maybe not all of you, but some of you. So listen, the same thing happens with you. Not that he's going to slap you, but what I'm saying is he's feeling attacked by you. And anytime a person feels attacked, they get defensive. Even think back to a time, maybe as a kid or as an adult, where you know you did something wrong, but because of the way they came at you, you still try to defend yourself. But when we come at people with the right delivery, with the right energy, we disarm them. We allow them to receive us better. They're more open to what we have to say. So understand that arguing about it, not going to get you anywhere. Having the wrong energy and attitude, not going to get you anywhere. And nagging him isn't going to get you anywhere. Now, I know some of you may say, well, I wouldn't nag him if he just did what the hell he was supposed to do when I told him the first damn time. I get it, right? But if you have to nag, number one, you don't have to nag. Get that out of your head. You don't have to nag. If anything, you can turn on the heat of the charm. What I mean by that is this. And if you have a child, you can try it with your child. Let's say you ask your child to do something, right? And they don't get up and do it. It is natural for us to get more aggressive with each time we ask, right? Thinking that now I got to put my foot up your behind to get you to do what you need to do. But I want you to stop yourself and say, no, rather than get more aggressive, I'm going to get sweeter. So ask again, but do it even sweeter. If you have to ask a third time, go grab their hand, look them in the eye. This may sound like too much, but just work with me here. Work with me here, all right? Really, you're disarming them and ask them again. I'm telling you right now, you will find better results by being more loving and charming than you will by being more negative, okay? And you will avoid the unnecessary stress and negativity that comes with having to get more aggressive with people, all right? More harsh with them. That doesn't serve any really good purpose. And it's not speaking to your strength as a woman, to be honest with you. So consider that, but understand that, yes, what I want to say real quick before I finish this is if you get to a point where you've tried talking sweet, you did all that and it's still not working, then again, that's just a sign that you're trying to work with the wrong person. All right? You should not have to feel like you have to nag to get things to get him to be better or to improve things in your relationship. All right. So now we're at the sixth mistake to avoid when he's not investing in you. And that's to simply go along with the behavior and make excuses for it. So again, I know a lot of people can say, oh, I would never let this happen to me, or if he's not doing what he needs to do, I'm out of there. A lot of people say it, but when they're in the situation, it doesn't work out that way. Now, again, I'm not judging. I don't want you to feel bad if you find yourself doing that at this moment. I just want you to be aware that, again, you're only making things worse. And a lot of times the unwillingness to say something about it or just to sweep it under the rug is due out of the fear of losing this person that you feel like you want. And notice I said that you feel like you want, only because, listen, if this man is unwilling to invest in you, has not been investing in you, has not been pouring into you the way that you need, well, then this relationship is not built off of love and connection. It is built off of fear. It is built off of want. You may want it badly for various reasons, but it doesn't mean it's best for you. All right? And I don't want you to be led by your wants. I want you to be led by your spirit, really, most importantly, led by God, but led by connection, led by what is best for you. And so if you cannot feel safe enough to open yourself and be expressive to him about your concerns, then again, there is either a deeper issue within you that needs to be addressed and resolved, or you are dealing with the wrong man. Plain and simple. And you cannot fool yourself into thinking that, well, this is just a passing phase, that maybe he's just going through a lot right now. Because like I said, sometimes the woman starts making excuses. Oh, he's just busy. He's just this. And don't get me wrong. Sometimes the man has a lot going on his plate. Is extremely busy, all right? And may not be as available as he can be, or maybe a little bit more hindered than others in being able to do certain things. However, even if that's the case, a man who is genuinely serious about you is going to be willing to discuss the issue, hear you out, is going to be willing to work towards some kind of a compromise, all right? Even if that compromise is, okay, right now, and this is just an example popping in my head. Let's say he's studying for the bar, all right? Because I've seen this happen. Man studying for the bar, this is a very tense time for him. He is less available. All right, so maybe it's a matter of right now, we make some sacrifices to understand he needs some time to do what he needs to do. But then whether it's once this is done, now we have to make up for some of this time. Or maybe it's, okay, maybe I can't expect all your time right now because you have to worry about studying for the bar. But maybe it's that one day out the week or a couple hours out the week where we can indulge in each other and make sure we're pouring into the relationship what we need. Or here's the reality. Maybe it's just not time for the relationship. Depending on the phase of where you guys are, if you guys are just starting off, it probably would be better just to wait. If you're already deep into the relationship, this is where it's more called for to find a compromise that you can be okay with. But outside of legitimate things like that, you got to understand that you should not make assumptions or make excuses. You must address it directly with the man. And you must have an environment within the relationship where you can address it with him. Otherwise, it can linger in ways that will wreak havoc within you and in the relationship down the line. So don't hold it in. Don't suppress yourself. Don't make excuses. Talk to him. And that brings me to number 7, which is a perfect... Anyways, the point is, number 7 is the mistake to not make is to walk away without properly addressing the situation. So again, as I just said, just talk to the man. Listen, we should not assume that he's just this bad guy because he's not investing in you, all right? Sometimes it's just he's not the right guy for you. Sometimes it's just there's a misunderstanding, okay? And by simply having healthy communication, it can be fixed. I've said it a million times. Red flags don't mean you run. You see it, you address it, and if it can be corrected, you move forward. If not, you let go. Now, understand, and I've kind of mentioned this earlier, properly addressing it has 3 things I want you to consider when you're properly addressing it. Number 1 is make sure you're being very clear about your needs and desires. I understand that a lot of women have this mentality of, well, he should know, he's a grown man, or I don't want to have to tell him everything because the concern is, well, then if he's a player, then he's going to use it to play you. I'm not saying that never happens, but I'm going to tell you is that's a small minority. Most men are not going to hear what you need, do all of it just to play you. Most men. Most men who are trying to play you are trying to give little effort and get maximum return, all right? But the man who's serious is willing to embrace it and pour into it. If you're not clear with him about what you need, then it leaves more room for disconnect later. It leaves more room for you guys to clash and have issues because you're not on the same page. Be fair to him in letting him know so that he understands what he needs to invest in you in order for you to be happy and fulfilled in this relationship. The second thing is make sure you express yourself in a calm and loving manner. As I said earlier, when you're letting negativity drive your interaction, it's not going to give you positive results. So calm, loving manner is not just making sure you're calm, but making sure your energy is right. Making sure you're speaking from a place of love and peace and trying to find harmony, all right? If you are not there yet, maybe you need to take a step, walk away for a second, catch your breath, do what you need to do to de-stress so that you can come back and have that conversation with the right attitude, the right mindset. Otherwise, you're only setting yourself up for more problems. Also, if maybe verbally talking about it is a struggle, writing it in a letter. I believe letters are extremely effective tools for communicating deep issues and concerns. It allows you to make sure your tone is right, to make sure you've addressed everything properly. I think it's better than trying to have a verbal conversation first. I think letter first and then discussing the letter is the optimal way to do this, all right? So that's another thing for you to consider. Express yourself in a calm, loving manner. And then the last thing is, when you're trying to address things properly, is just keep an open mind. And what I simply mean by that is, don't come into the conversation projecting negativity, expecting him to give you some nonsense answer, expecting things to go left. Just don't come in so guarded because you're bracing yourself for something bad. Come into it with a clean slate, open to what he has to say, allowing yourself to listen, to understand, not just listen to respond, taking it in, and being open to the fact that maybe it really was a misunderstanding. You know what I'm saying? But if he shows himself to just be a guy who's not serious, then of course you walk away, don't look back, keep your head up, because there will be a man who wants to pour everything into you that you need and desire. Thank you for watching this video. Be sure to watch this one next, where I tell you to stop waiting for his text and do this instead. Don't run to family and friends to discuss why the hell this man hasn't texted you back yet, all right? Because if the only thing that's worse than the woman who's already in her head